Welcome again to a few minutes of preparing for your study this week, Tending the Wild Garden, Chapter 2. I'm Eugenia Gamble, the author of the study, and this week you're going to focus on the first aspect of the fruit of the Spirit, love. Now remember, as you go forward, that the fruit of the Spirit is in the singular. It's not fruits, like a giant fruit salad from which you can choose the raspberries and pick out all the kiwi fruit. The fruit of the Spirit is one thing with a number of facets. For the sake of depth and clarity, I pull those aspects apart so that we can understand them a bit better. But in reality, they cannot be separated any more than we can separate out and embrace or reject aspects of Spirit's own being. In this chapter, you will explore a number of words used in the Bible and during Bible times to describe the different realities that are all included in our English word love. Understanding those distinctions will help you to grasp the power and the reach of the word that the Apostle Paul was inspired to use in the Galatians 5 text, which is the foundation for this study. Love in our day is a loaded word, isn't it? We use it to describe how we feel about a movie or a meme or a pet or a spouse or a child or a candidate or a parent or a teacher or a living room paint color or a poem that cuts to the soul or a memory or a moment or a meadow with ruffling grasses and the sky with skipping clouds. In each of those circumstances, we use the word love to describe a range of human emotions, from ecstasy to passion, to wonder, to delight, to intimacy, to bondedness, to fleeting beauty. We use the word to describe how we feel about something. And sometimes our feelings are shared, sometimes they're not. But in either case, the emotion is one that we may struggle to define. The Bible uses a number of words to help carry the load of our wily emotions. Interestingly enough, the word most used in the New Testament for love, the word that Paul uses in his list of the fruit of the Spirit, is agape, and it is not an emotion. Agape is rather a choice. It's an ethic. It is choosing the ultimate good for the beloved, whether we feel loving or we do not, whether the beloved seems deserving or does not, whether we feel loved in return or not. This is the kind of love that allowed a Samaritan traveler to kneel by the side of a wounded opponent and tend to his needs at great personal risk. It is the kind of love with which God so loved the world when we were certainly not very lovable, and God moved to save so that none would be condemned. It is the kind of love that allowed Jesus from the cross to ask God to forgive his executioners and betrayers because they did not understand what they were doing. Agape is sometimes translated as unconditional love, but I translate it as unconquerable love. This kind of love is not natural to most of us. Most of us find it natural to love those that love us and to hate those who in some way oppose us. That's not how God operates. And it is not what Spirit constantly works to bring to harvest in us either. I would submit that agape is only possible in us because it is the nature of Spirit who dwells within us, who plants seeds of a deeper and more profound morality and brings those seeds to flower and fruit. So Spirit love, grasp this now, Spirit love is not a feeling. It is not something reserved for some and denied others. It is the all-encompassing ethic of seeking the good for others when we feel like it and when we do not. It is spirit love growing in us that eradicates all false narratives of enemy and refuses to acquiesce to returning evil for evil. That is just not how agape works. There's no revenge in it, especially not revenge clothed in the pious language of justice. Agape is countercultural in almost any culture at any time in history. It is completely of the realm of God. That kinship, that realm of God kinship that Jesus tells us has been fulfilled in our sight. Even though agape is hard, it does rise up in us when we are willing to awaken to it and work to remove the weeds that choke it out in our lives. So as you prepare to study this week, take a deep breath and ask yourself where and in what circumstances you have received the unconquerable love of another. How have you shed agape love in your world? And if you feel comfortable, share your stories with your group. See you next time.